Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, I am the one and only Pac-Man here, and I am from the likes of the Maxi Toys videos here. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Donkey Kong Land 3 for the Game Boy / Game Boy Color in the Japanese exclusive. So, yeah, last time we've basically managed able to finish up everything in terms of Cape Cod Swallow, and today, for this video, is the fact that we are moving on to the next world in this game, which appears to be Primate Planes. So, yeah, that's all I can honestly try to say about this. So, from the get-go, we need to go into the water level to start things off, and the next level we're going to be hopping into throughout the whole game, and that's what appears to be Coral Quarter? I think that's what it said anyway, though. So anyways, and somehow we ended up in the actual pink water for some reason. Well, mind you, about the fact the matter is though, it's just the fact that it at one point is actually on like, well, I don't know what you're able to call it per se, because I've got no words. Anyway, so yeah, once again we have to able to swim and just try to able to, as usual, try to dodge a lot of those insane amount of, you know, sea creatures, just in case you really don't able to get hit and die, if worse. But regardless of such though, I think we should be okay enough as it goes by. So, first bonus area from over there. So, it might not be too hard to able to actually just try to find it. So, at the very least, I did somehow manage to able to find it to begin with. So, anyways, let's go ahead and dodge those, specific creatures over there and grab the bonus coin regardless. So, or should I say the B coin, because obviously the actual coin itself is almost like a replica to the B coins from the likes of in Donkey Kong Country 3. So, because here's the thing, with the forms of in Donkey Kong Country 3, that these B coins can able to actually allow you to able to actually access to the Lost World, by able to actually access to more other levels and stuff like that. I believe for the sake of the forms of this game this time around though, although I'll get into more details about that if we somehow manage able to continue throughout the game. So, yeah, that pretty much explains it how. So, anyways, we've got the DK Hero coin, not too shabby, because like I said before, that in the water levels in this game, that you don't need to require to able to use the steel barrel, so that way you don't need to worry about trying to deal with a lot of like backtracking towards respawning steel barrels and then just keep on trying it again. So, relatively speaking though, there's not much else to say about this apart from the fact that I'm very grateful that was actually the case. So, but again, because of the limitations of the Game Boy, so because of this though, there's not much right to home about. So yeah, today's day is of course the 4th of September today, in this case in 2022 today, although I do apologize with the forms of that tongue twisting for that particular commentary because, well, I just felt a little bit too awkward at this point, but don't worry, I'm still fine as it is, still, but regardless of such though, that's as far as I can usually try to explain about that. So, yeah, because of this though, if you're probably wondering about the fact that when it comes to those uploading schedules so far, in regards to the forms of Donkey Kong Land 3, there's one thing I totally forgot to mention about ever since in yesterday actually, that apparently that Donkey Kong Land 3 videos is going to be most likely uploads for the weekends. So, just because after the events of, you know, Mario Party 7, Mario Party 8, as well as the forms of, well, you know what I mean, Wii Party and stuff like that. So I thought to myself, yeah, I think I'm also able to let Donkey Kong to start to able to shine throughout the majority of the weekend, because, well, as far as I can tell, that this game is going to be super short as well, much like the forms of how it does on the previous two games for sure. So, anyways, let's go ahead and collect some stars here while trying to able to take control of On Guard the Swordfish. So, at the very least, we're able to actually just make our swimming controls a lot more better. And on top of all that stuff, though, just make things a little bit more comfortable for ourselves. So, yeah, that pretty much explains it. So, yeah, I just need to able to be very careful around here because we don't able to die, because otherwise we have to restart back into where the midpoint barrel was. So, at the very least, we have managed able to complete it. So, anyways, that's that. So let's move on to the next level, which takes place in a tree level. And this one appears to be Ninky Mischief. So, obviously, as far as what this level is going to bring us into, it will be pretty obviously going to be a Ninky enemies that we have to like deal with in this level. So yep, there they are. Ever since in Donkey Kong Country 3, that's basically we need to watch out for their projectiles. So, and while at it though, is the fact that there is that particular barrel that actually protects you from not to get hit by those things. So, at the very least, that'll be helpful for you. So, yeah, I guess that's that. So, yeah, another thing I would like to explain is the fact that, well, it's about time actually, about the fact the matter is though, it's been about 3 years ago since when the actual Nintendo Direct announcement back in September 4th, 2019 was actually first held. Well, mind you, about the fact the matter is though, I'm pretty sure that Daffy has pretty much explained this several times. Well, actually, kind of thinking about it, he did somewhat briefly mention about this ever since in Super Mario Galaxy 2 playthrough, for the sake of the Green Stars run. Apparently he did say about the fact that this is probably one of his least favorite Nintendo Direct announcements back in 2019. Although nothing bad, don't get me wrong, but it does have some bit of questionable choices in regards to the forms of like, well, I don't know if you're able to actually notice for the sake of time though, but either way though, I think that's as far as I can usually just try to describe about that, I guess. But anyway, so there's the bonus area just right down here, so in case if you missed it. So yeah, not that difficult to come across into, but at least it's something, I guess. So yeah, I can't even believe, you know, like I said, it's been 3 years ago since when, you know, September 4th, 2019 Nintendo Direct announcement comes into play. Like, for example, this is actually the first time ever they actually decided able to utilize a different visual style in regards to the forms of Nintendo Direct slideshows and stuff like that, which will continue that tradition until present day and stuff like that, and same applies for 2021 and even the terrible 2020, but that's besides the point. But yeah, I do remember the fact that when Overwatch did finally came onto the Switch, and I certainly do remember some more infos about Luigi's Mansion 3 they showcased, and on top of all that stuff though, I do remember about the fact that, well, when Super Kirby Clash was a thing, which appears to be like the HD version of Team Kirby Clash Deluxe, which I was a little bit disappointed, but at the same time though, I think it's kind of worth it in my eyes, although apart from the fact that the frame rate might have bothered me a little bit. And I do remember that time when basically they revealed, let's just say like a remake of any sort, which appears to be Trails of Mona, and I guess that's that. Now I certainly do remember about the forms of some very obscure third-party supportive titles, which I wasn't predictably a fan of, including Little Town Hero, which is the game has been made by Game Freak, which also did the Pokemon games, despite the fact that a lot of people seemed able to have, well, you know what I mean, not a big fan of the forms of Generation 8 every now and then for Pokemon games alike, because of the forms of some very rough textures, along with the forms of the actual, the specific weird changes to the Pokédex system. Oh yeah, I do remember that as well. And heck, let's not forget ourselves the most important aspect about the forms has been about 3 years ago since when Banjo and Kazooie somehow managed able to get its release date back in the forms of well, in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate in some cases though, that I do remember I was very excited able to play those amazing duos of characters again, at least in ever since back in the forms of in the N64 era. Especially noticeable, I'm still very glad that they go for the classic design instead of this very, very ugly reboot version of it, unlike, you know, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing for the Xbox 360 version most likely. But it doesn't bother me at all though, but it's just the fact that I know for the fact that a lot of people prefer classic designs over, you know, the redesigns and stuff like that. So, and also I do remember that time where they revealed Terry Bogard as a fighter from the likes of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which then later came onto the forms of November. And I certainly do remember that time when they say they'll bring in more DLC fighters into Smash Bros. Ultimate. Well, at least specifically before the events of, well, this very bad choice of Firelift from Fire Emblem Three Houses, and as well as the forms of Min Min, the okay fighter choice from the likes of ARMS, and some very surprising ones too. Like for example with Steve from Minecraft, and especially notable with the forms of Sephiroth from the likes of Final Fantasy VII. And heck, let's not forget ourselves the forms of... I'm a little bit disappointed with the forms of Pyra and Mithra reveal from the likes of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, despite the fact that I'm not a big fan of the series to begin with. Although, the interesting highlight before the events of Kaiyoza from the likes of Tekken, and let's not forget ourselves the greatest reveal of all time, which appears to be Sora from Kingdom Hearts. Although some people seem to say that Sephiroth reveal from the likes of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is by far the best reveal ever, just because of the forms of that intense music and also gorgeous CGI cutscene and stuff like that. Mind you, it doesn't usually use that from the in-game and stuff like that, but at least it's something, I guess. Alright, so next level we have is Jetty Jitters, and right from the get-go, there's a coin enemy right there. So yeah, pretty easy to spot, especially noticeable, always have to pay attention before you're able to move on to the continuation of the level, so something to keep an eye out for. So anyway, and I do remember that time when they managed able to show us some more footage on Mario and Sonic at the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games, and also I do remember that time when they shown us some more stuff about, you know, The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening as a Switch remake, which I guess is a good thing about the fact though, since that, you know, Tiana is still working on the Game Boy Color version of, you know, The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX at the moment for its Let's Play department, because just able to actually just, you know, get a pretty good memory for the sake of the forms of how good the Switch remake was. So, anyways, let's go ahead and grab some stars here, so just in case we are probably gonna get, what else? More B coins and stuff like that, so... And there we go! Nicely done for the sake of time. Oh yeah, I should probably also mention about this as well. Speaking of the forms of, you know, good luck trying to able to get the original cartridge version of this game, because you really don't able to stumble across into a dead safe battery. Well, luckily though, back in the day, that's as it is, that this might actually be the only Donkey Kong Land game, along with Donkey Kong Land 1, that both of those games I've never actually come across into a dead safe battery, which I guess that's a good thing, especially noticeable because I managed able to got these games physically for quite cheap, because I much rather prefer playing, you know, these games for the sake of some color, because if you try to play the games on the 3DS for its Virtual Console re-release back in the day, unfortunately though, you have to come across into full black and white, which makes things a lot harder to not able to deal with the forms of certain platforming segments, so yeah, that's why I get the suggestion about the fact that I think, suffice to say, I'm pretty sure that you no longer get, you know, Donkey Kong Land 1, 2, and 3 on the 3DS Virtual Console lineup, so, because obviously you're no longer going to be added in funds to the 3DS now, so... Still pretty sad though, but it has to happen, sadly, so, yeah, I guess that's that. So now let's go ahead and save our game into that particular familiar cave, and so far we've got 21%, and I've spent about 33 minutes so far, so... Not too shabby right there. Now, if you're probably wondering, what is up with that clock icon with that particular file selection screen, if you're probably wondering? Well, I'll explain more about that in a second, because here we go on to the next level, which is Black Ice Blitz. In this case, we're going into the winter theme level, and oh no, they're gonna have to bring that back, aren't they? Yep. So somehow we have to able to bring back the bobsled segments throughout the whole game, and chances are I already died, so whoops. In fact, that was actually a bad thing in my book, because otherwise I was gonna have to able to do a lot. I mean, a lot of emphasis on trial and error, so yeah, because you have to do a lot of insane jumps and stuff like that in order to able to actually just to go through. And I get the strong sense of feeling that one of those bonus areas is actually very sneaky. Well, you'll see why in just a moment. Although, thankfully the level's length is actually going to be super duper quick, because obviously this takes place in the actual bobsled more than anything, so because of that though, at the very least it's not nearly as punishing as the forms of let's just say the minecart levels from the likes of the Game Boy Color version of Donkey Kong Country, and as well as the forms of that roller coaster levels from the likes of Donkey Kong Land 2. I'm pretty sure anyway, so... It feels like we keep on collecting stars for some reason in these bonus areas. I mean, what is this, like Donkey Kong Land Star Rush? I mean, it could be, I might be over-exaggerating at points, but it surely feels like it from this point that way. Although despite the fact that, well, you don't usually go for like, well, you know what I mean, place to place and stuff like that for all that individual space movements and stuff, but I digress. So yeah, we've got the DK Hero coin, and there's the last bonus area right at the very end of the level, so... Yeah, it's pretty simple. In fact, kind of think about it though, the entire level is actually not too bad, despite it's a bit tricky in certain situations, so... Yeah, I guess that pretty much summarizes it such. Anyway, so let's go ahead and touch the actual flag rope thing, and, well, that does it from here. And I'm pretty sure we're now onto the halfway point of this world already, so... Sheepy shop, so, yeah, let's just go and get some more collectible items and stuff like that. To be more specifically, most importantly is, of course, DK Hero coin. Of course, if you're ever able to actually think to yourself about the fact that you might able to actually replay this, well, I think, truth be told though, is the fact that if you somehow failed on these particular matching pair game, I'm pretty sure you might able to have an option to try again or something like that, if you managed able to enter back in here. But the only thing is though, is the fact that certain flip panels will be randomized in these specific places. So, yeah, it won't be exactly the same, even though it does almost reminds me of the forms of... Kind of think about it, this particular matching game does remind me of something related to New Super Mario Bros. Wii for a little bit, except the fact that you don't use your Wii remote in order able to take control of your character, so instead, you're able to take control of you know, with the Game Boy and stuff like that, or the Game Boy Color, or especially noticeable with the Game Boy Advance as well, because you know, backwards compatibility, so... There we go, and it actually took me about 51 seconds to do so, and if you manage to get the time run out, then you won't get, although you might get some rewards, but I don't think you're able to get any of them throughout, so that's all I'm really asking for, so... Anyways, let's move on to the next level, and from the get-go, much like the forms of how it does it on any other level, as we noticed, ever since in, let's just say, Jetty Jitters, we got ourselves a coin enemy from the get-go again. So, seriously, why did he's not even trying. Anyway, so let's get to it with the forms of Riverbank Riot. So, yeah, basically, we have to be able to swim about yet again for certain spots, but before we continue things on for this point, I get the strong sense of feeling, yep, there's the bonus area, so it's pretty easy to spot if you manage to do a lot of emphasis on exploration, so yeah, it might be worth noting for if you highly recommend doing this, so... And also I just found out about the fact the matter is though, I think we've only got about 3 more weeks left until Mario Kart Tour will be eventually become 3 years old during that time. Although, save that conversation until likely the next few videos later. So as a result of that kind of stuff though, yeah. So anyways, let's just go ahead and I think there was actually a shortcut you can take by dang it, I think I messed it up, didn't I? Although, I think I'm pretty sure that you might be able to skip certain secrets and stuff like that. So I think I should probably save that until likely for later. But not now anyway though, so... Also I just found out about the fact the matter is though, is the fact that I'm pretty sure it doesn't bring us that much level gimmicks to it. Like, for example, any forms of that one of those levels in the second world, in the likes of in Donkey Kong Country 2, or actually, kind of think about it, Donkey Kong Country 3 anyway. That's basically though is the fact that you have to able to beat a certain amount of time before you're able to actually get something rewarding. Such as, for instance, if you manage able to beat the new record for someone else's time, basically you get yourselves the Banana Bird. In fact, speaking of Banana Birds actually, I don't think Banana Birds is not going to make its return in this game, so... Again, because of the forms of the Game Boy's limitations, or perhaps even maybe because of the forms of... Well, I don't know what to say about this, so... Well, this might be... Yep, there's another bonus area just right down here, so... Good thing I explored a lot, so... At least I pretty much know exactly what I'm about to able to do. And there's actually last 2 enemies there, so... And then the coin pops up right out of, like, in front of my face, so... Too easy. Piece of cake. So... Anyway, but I do remember that one time about the fact that everyone else has been so happy about the forms of the release date of, you know, Animal Crossing New Horizons, which later on became, you know, the most popular game of them all, though, along with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, even though that's usually, relatively speaking, that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe still dominates for its sales numbers just because of DLC and stuff like that. But anyways, let's move on to the next level, which is Miller Instinct. I mean, did they try to reference something related to another rare game or something like that? I may be thinking of something related to a fighting game regardless, which appears to be Killer Instinct for the Super Nintendo, along with the forms of, you know, Killer Instinct Gold from the likes of the Nintendo 64. So yeah, it might be something, I think that usually, relatively speaking, that certain level names are actually kind of weird in this game sometimes. Although, mind you, because of how the fact that I do appreciate it with all these unique names for its, you know, rare selections of levels or something. Well, despite the fact that it has been a long while since I actually played certain rare games ever since in, well, Banjo-Kazooie for the Nintendo 64, along with the Donkey Kong Country games for the console version, along with the handheld version on the GBA. Although, kind of thinking about it though, is the fact that, relatively speaking though, usually, relatively speaking, unlike the forms of how it does it on the Donkey Kong Country 3 for the Game Boy Advance, I'm pretty sure that, I think Sonic has already mentioned about that ever since in his Let's Play of Donkey Kong Country 3, back in about a year ago now, that basically though, the actual soundtrack on the GBA version of Donkey Kong Country 3 sounds a lot more different than the forms of how it does it on the Super Nintendo counterpart. Whilst in here though, basically it's more accurately the 8-bit version of the soundtrack from the likes of the forms of Donkey Kong Country 3 soundtrack, so, which I admit it though, I don't mind about it too much though, because the soundtrack on the Super Nintendo games of Donkey Kong Country is so iconic, especially noticeable because I get the strong sense of feeling that the soundtrack is all so great. But I digress. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but about the fact that I do apologize for that background noise you'd be hearing, because I have to open my window, so I need to get my fresh air in. Because, at the moment right now, my room seems to be smelling stuffy at the moment. But, at the very least though, is the fact that it's a good thing I managed to get my fresh air on. So, what's also very irritating for me though, is the fact that I'm having a lot of insect bugs wandering around in my house right now, which I know for the fact that me and Mega Man are able to actually get rid of those many of those tiny bugs as much as possible, but my guess is the fact that Wario, for some reason, just keeps on tossing a lot of trash all over the room, and also at the same time though, is the fact that Waluigi just doing all kinds of silly stuff here and there as well, so... Anyways, here's the bonus barrel right here. I get this strong sense of feeling about the fact that I'm actually missing something here, so... But, thankfully though, just like in forms of how it does it on Donkey Kong Land 1 and Donkey Kong Land 2, basically, if you're missing something, specifically on certain secrets, well, first of all, you need to complete the level first in order to actually access this, you know, tips and tricks. Basically, or, you know, tips and hints and stuff like that, even though despite the fact that I do apologize if my commentary gets a little bit tad sloppy, but nowhere near as sloppy as the forms of how it does it on how yesterday's was. Speaking of yesterday though, I do apologize with the forms of that very weird commentary glitch earlier. Well, that's only mainly because, like I said before, my laptop always lags, so... Anyway, but it's been fixed and settled at this point right now so far, but at least I'm really hoping that won't happen again, at least for any time soon, so... Oh, wait a second. As far as I've noticed something, I get this strong sense of feeling that another one of those bonus areas I'm actually missing on. It might be right after... Yep, it's right over there. I almost first thought I was going to be able to, like, well, double check on something, but turns out it was just there all along, so... I seriously did not know that at first, and I do apologize for that another background noise you'll be hearing. I'm guessing the plane somehow must have took off, so... but I digress. So anyways, let's just go ahead and, I'm literally off by 3 stars. I wonder where they are. Do I have to, like... Oh, jeez, I have no idea where they are. Yeah, there were a few times, though, about the fact that I will have to admit it, though, right away, that certain bonus areas that usually relies on collecting stars most of the time, can sometimes feel a bit too busy work. Especially noticeable, you always have to hunt down for them, so... Yeah, that might be the only trickiest part about the bonus areas in this game sometimes, is that if you think you're about to be able to find them all, but then next you notice that you're still missing something, so... Oh, wait a second, is there a bottom level down there? Hold on, let me check. Ah, I see. There's a bottom floor. Okay, I get you, game. I get ya. Anyway, so when you pause the game and press select, then you should be able to go back to the world map instantly. So, there we go. So now let's move on to the last level in Primate Planes, and that's what appears to be Bleak Magic. Oh hey Bleak, how's it going? Oh wait a second, you're actually going to be doing something completely different for once. Because unlike the Donkey Kong Country 3 equivalent, that basically we have to able to actually do with a throwing snowball thing with that 3D kind of foreground perspective, whilst in here though, all you have to really do is just basically you have to dodge a lot of his snowballs, and at the same time, when he's had enough, then basically that barrel will pop up during the likes of the fonts off the far right of the screen. And then, I think you have to do it for about 4 times, and then you have to watch out for those snowballs coming from this cannon hat, and I think that's as far as you can get for this point for this boss fight. So yeah, definitely a lot more easier than the forms of how it does it on the console version, I'm pretty sure, despite that last shot just caught me off guard. And there he goes. That's literally how this boss fight works. So, pretty easy. So, anyway, so suffice to say, I think we should probably end things off at this point right here. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of Donkey Kong Country 3, Donkey Kong Land 3, sorry. That's what appears to be about the fact that we go into the 3rd world in this game, known as Black Forest Plateau. So this will be interesting. So I'll see you guys on next Saturday. Later, fellas.